Digital 410 Media proudly presents the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast with your hosts, Don Abernathy, Jeff Copsetta, and Dennis Blocker.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, your favorite World War II based podcast. First and foremost, I've been trying to stay off of social media a little bit, but I went on Facebook this weekend, and I am thrilled to see the number of photos from different D-Day events across the country. A bunch of photos out there. It looked like there's a lot of great D-Day events that happened this past weekend. So just a shout out to our living history community. Loving to see some of the larger turnouts at events again.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
We'll get on down the road. But Dennis had a very cool opportunity, and we're not going to waste any more time. We want to hear about Dennis's opportunity. The reason we had a rerun episode last week is because, well, Dennis had this opportunity, and it just made sense to hold out. So Dennis, without any further ado, without any more hinting around, how did you end up where you ended up, and what was it like? What did you learn?
Yeah, so the opportunity came from the Rooftop Oath event and working closely with the Marine Corps Recruit Depot San Antonio station, and Captain Gaskin in particular, the XO out there, and Staff Sergeant Montez. Just so literally 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, I got a call from Staff Sergeant Montez, and she said, "Hey, Dennis, would you like to go to the Marine Corps workshop, educators workshop?" And I'm like, "Yeah, heck yeah, that sounds awesome." I go, "When is it?" She goes, "In 2 weeks." It's like, oh man.
Well, I got to see if I can get time off.
Right. So I'm like, oh, okay. Let me see if I can manage some things. And I was like, "How soon do you need to know?" And she's like,
15 minutes ago.
yeah, yeah, by morning, and preferably evening. So I'm like, okay. So called up my director of operations for the company I work for and told him about the opportunity. And I used up all my PTO for the Rooftop Oath event.
Oh, yeah.
So I used it all up. So I think I have a day left. And so I said, well, if I could go, that'd be awesome. And I understand it'll be without pay. So they let me take the time. So basically, they paid for flight. They paid for
Really?
lodging at a resort on the bay in San Diego.
Well, let's back up a little bit. What exactly is this conference? What is it for? Is it for,
Yeah, so it's
the whole intention behind it?
Yeah, it's the Marines know that they get the majority of their enlistments from students right out of high school. And so they know that historically the teachers have been the ones that have worked closely with them, developing relationships with the families and the kiddos and facilitating and, saying, "Hey, you should meet this kid. He's really great. He's motivated, blah, blah, blah." So the Marines several years ago started a program, this educators workshop, and they fly in educators from the various recruiting stations. And on this particular journey, it was a recruiting station Phoenix, recruiting station San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston, all which fall under our recruiting area 8. And so all these, I thought, well, it was going to be me and maybe 4 or 5 people. No, it was me and 56 other people.
Wow.
And it's a significant number of people, and I was the only one that wasn't an quote unquote educated.
I was going to ask you about that.
So the reason that I was asked to come, there was several reasons. One being that what we had done for the Marine Corps.
Sure.
And preserving that history, the Rooftop Oath, and the events that we've had since then that they've not had to pay for, and that are so historically significant to the Marines. Also, they know that we have a podcast,
Okay.
and that we have reach, and that we have listeners, and that that's and they know about COG, that our efforts to interact with the youth and to educate and preserve. And so it really does go hand in hand with their mission.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if you're going to have a person who has the foot in the world in which you do, and Jeff does as well. Just being A, as you said, the podcast. B, you're at these events. You're finding yourself at more and more living history events. And so it stands to reason that the people who are going to attend those events are going to have some sort of interest in the subject, according and as well as teenagers and younger adults, and you're going to be communicating with them. And if they have questions, why not make sure you have the correct answers and, be able to talk to them in modern day terms? Because, yeah, we do World War II, but we're talking 90-year-old military, what have you. And so to have, modern day answers and information for them is probably a huge benefit for the Marine Corps.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and they're just outstanding, just exceptional, and they took such good care of us.
Where
Good food
was
in
the
the
location
hotel.
of the event?
Yeah, San Diego. So every day is just beautiful. The hotel was on San Diego Bay.
Okay.
It was right across from Coronado Island, and it was actually a resort. And they fed us 3 meals a day, bussed us everywhere we needed to go. They lodged us, and we had the flights, and they even pay you a little bit for participating.
When it
Uh,
comes to your fellow attendees or associates, if you will, were more of them college educators, high school educators, middle school people in different alternative education?
95% high school. Yeah, 95% high school, and two were high school band, and um, and one of those band leaders actually had two students from his this year's graduating class join the Marines to go into Marine Corps music. Um, but yeah, they're all high school educators. From one Dr. Ray White, she's the assistant principal out at Seguin ISD high school. Um, and then, Corpus, Eagle Pass,
So is this
um,
primarily a
Laredo.
Texas area educator workshop, or were there people
No,
from other parts of
it
the
also
country?
included, we had probably 20 from Phoenix,
Okay.
and yeah, that was a good group from Phoenix as well. Yeah. Um, but there was a very large group from Texas, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. San Antonio, but really at San Antonio especially branched out into we picked up people from Laredo and from Corpus Christi and from Eagle Pass. And it was kind of funny. We all were on, we all had the same itinerary.
Okay.
And so but we didn't know each other. And
Kind of
so
felt
we
like
were
you're on
kind
like
of
a high school
doing,
field trip.
yeah, we were kind of like trying to pick who we thought the other members were in the Denver transit where we had to transfer planes. So we definitely knew on this flight to San Diego is definitely going to be, all the
Yeah.
people going to this event. So we were all sitting there, and
Looking
but we
for
had a
signs
group
like,
chat. Yeah, that one looks like, an educator. um but we had a group chat, and that Sergeant Montes made, and then I got on there and I said, Dennis Blocker, Denver Gate, red bag, black bag, jeans, white shirt, and then someone else came in, black and white jumpsuit, Dr. Ray.
somebody walks up behind you, the crow flies at midnight. Hey.
So we started laughing, and we started gathering there at the Denver Gate, but and started developing friendships that just grew stronger over the next couple of days.
Now, did a majority of them have? I mean, did you discover a lot of the attendees have a interest in the historical side of military, or just everything across the board?
Everything across the board. I think that's what made it really even more powerful, was that these are people that had if they had any prejudgment, it was negative against the Marine Corps.
Well, see,
And
and I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't really want to. I was hesitant to breach that, but let's be honest. Over the last 10 years or so, especially in the education space in some parts of the country, you know, there may be a professional viewpoint on military and recruitment on campuses, whether high school or college or what have you. And so the fact that this is an educator based workshop, it would, I guess my question was going to be, was everybody kind of pro before? Were there people on the fence? I mean, what was your overall take at the beginning versus at the end of the weekend?
yeah, everybody they arrive. I'm squared away. I'm good to go. Like
Yeah, obviously.
yeah, I am fully on board. But then you're picking up conversations, and folks they don't know anything about the military except what they've seen in movies and Full Metal Jacket and Apocalypse Now. It's
And
like,
just a reminder, if you were one of those people who were kind of on the fence, just the fact that you're going says a tremendous amount about you as a person and your ability to perhaps go sit through something that you may not know if you fully agree with or not, or maybe you have hesitant feelings because you don't know, you haven't been exposed to it. And so that says a tremendous amount about their character to potentially put them in something that they may not feel comfortable in, just because they don't know. So just showing up and signing up for it says a lot about them and being educators.
absolutely. And that's, we let's be real, like you said, that if you're an educator, there is a predominance bent there seems to be historically, especially nowadays.
And it depends on
And
what part of the country you're from too.
yeah, but still though, even
Yeah.
down here, even it's like there's a very particular bent in
Mm-hmm.
education. And so that's very true what you said. It's like for them to be willing, it says a lot. And I think it reflects too, in a way, it reflects on where the country as a whole is, that the majority of the country is center and rational, but the other sides of both spectrums are just so loud and boisterous. And I think it was a really good illustration of
And it should be
folks who were,
said, not to interrupt you, and it should be said, school's out. They're on vacation. It's not like they're saying, "Okay, I'm going to go
yeah,
do
and that was
this to get out
something
of a week
too
of
that
work."
yeah.
They are on their vacation now, and they're still.
Yeah, and that was addressed by the commander of the training recruit depot. She's full bird colonel, and she did address that. She thanked everybody because she knew that they didn't have to be there, like they were on vacation,
Mm-hmm.
and so a well-deserved vacation. And then they come there, and we got what we got, but which I'll go over. But yeah, so that was it. It was so we arrived late. The Texans arrived late because of a big storm pushed through Denver. We were stuck there. We had a hard time that we needed to be in San Diego by 5:30 for a briefing that the Marine Corps was going to do at the hotel in a conference room for dinner. We missed it. Like as we were walking up, tired, exhausted, everybody was leaving, and they had food there that they had kept for us. And we just kind of walked in, sat down, plopped down. Everybody's quiet, exhausted, wolfed down the food. They gave us a really quick briefing, and keys for the rooms and itinerary for tomorrow, the following day, and have a good night. And so it was just kind of like, wow, that was really a quick introduction to
Well, I mean, since they did all the logistics, they had access to see that. Oh yeah, these flights are late. This is that's
yeah.
out of
And
their
like I
control.
said, yeah, Staff Sergeant Montez was already, she had gone before. And so she had wisely had created that chat group. So we were keeping her abreast of, our situation with the flight and this and that. Yeah. So in the morning, breakfast, 0600 hours. And we're getting into it, 6 o'clock breakfast. And the bus is leaving at 6:45. And so, but, it's a group that's pretty squared away, right? You're educators, you're there way before the students, so no big deal.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Carrie has over, because she teaches fourth grade now. She has over like 30 alarms on her phone because during the day it has to be alarm goes off specials, take the kids here, this and that. And now she's on summer break, but I saw her go through her phone, turning off all her alarms. It's like scroll, scroll, scroll. It's like 8 hours worth of alarms set 15, 20 minutes apart because of logistics. And so if you're going to have a group of people that need to be somewhere on time and on a schedule, a teacher is not a bad person to ask to do that.
that's exactly right. Yeah, that was something that our group would be famous for with the Marines, about our punctuality and being where we needed to be when we needed to be there. They appreciated that big time.
Well,
Yeah,
plus you
so
felt
after
like you had to make up
breakfast,
for lost time because you're late the first day.
yeah, and then of course they knew that wasn't our fault,
No,
but
I know.
they and then so it's 6:45 starts approaching. We're looking out the windows at the breakfast restaurant on the resort campus there, and you just see the parking lot start to fill up with Marines and in uniform and battle dress, and uh, and some that were in dress uniforms, not the blues, but the greens.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been through Army uh, boot camp in '01, so I knew what was ahead of us. But um, I was just looking around at everybody and just smiling, like this is going to be quite
Did
an
they give you a little bit of taste?
No. Well, that they yes. And so everybody gets on the bus, and everybody's laughing and caffeinated, and this
There
is gonna
wasn't
be
any yellow
great.
footprints in the parking lot, was there?
We're, we're on a field trip, and all of a sudden here comes these heavy footprints up the steps of the bus. Here comes drill instructor Esquivel, and he starts yelling at everybody to shut up and to listen up, and he starts going over some things. When he says eyes, he wants everybody to yell out click, and that means your eyes come on me immediately. Let's try it. Eyes,
Click.
click, sir. And then your eyes are on him, and he goes ears. That means when I say ears, it means you don't have to look at me, but I do want you to listen, so I want you to say open, sir. Let's try it. Ears open, sir. I can't hear you. Ears open, sir. And he goes, well, we're going to count. I need you to grab your left. And I say, execute. You pop it up and you say, snap. And you hold it until you're counted off. And then you drop your arm. I know you've been counted. So we do roll call every day on the bus. So we're like, yes, sir. Sorry. Aye, aye, sir. So he tells us, no talking on the bus at all. And so then everybody's just quiet. And as we're approaching Pendleton, MCRD, he tells everybody, look at the deck. So we're not allowed to watch as we're going through the gate, right? We're going to get the full experience. So it's dead quiet in this bus, 28 people on our bus, 20 something on the other. And we're all looking at the deck. And I know what's coming is the yellow footprints, right? So we pull up, and then sure enough, here comes the rush. All these drill sergeants come rushing up to the bus, just screaming, get off my bus, boom, 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 get on the footprint, boom, go, 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 go. And it was awesome.
It's got to be fun for them too, because they're usually screaming at a bunch of 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old men and women, and now you got people ranging probably from 30 into their 50s.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So everybody's rushing around, and they put us through that. Then we had to left face, and you look up at the proclamation, the rules. There's like 13 or 14 rules, and they tell you to take a left knee. One of the guy in front of us is so old he couldn't kneel, so he's trying to kneel. He's tottering, and they're like, first, and they go through all these, and after every one you say aye, aye, ma'am. And then you rush inside, and they take us to the famous red cubicles. Nice. Where you're going to do the make sure you don't have any contraband. So everybody's got a cubicle you're facing. You dump out your bag, and out of my bag came a little chapstick, and I was like, oh my.
Oh, you're going to get roasted.
I was like, oh, I hope they don't see that stupid
Blocker, what's the
chest.
matter with you? You got sensitive lips, boy.
You got this little sensitive lips. I was like, I saw that chapstick. I was like, oh no.
If it was a movie, the audio would go quiet, and in slow motion, that thing would roll off the counter and hit the floor, and make a boom, boom, and all eyes would just turn on this thing as it slowly rolled across the floor. Oh no! And the narration. That's when I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah, I was screwed.
Then you feel the breathing on the back of your neck.
Oh man. So they actually have made us like grab our phones, put your phones out in front of you, call your loved one, and
I
read
was
the
going to
card.
ask you. That's awesome.
Yep, they made us do that. So I called my dad. This recruit has arrived safely at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Do not attempt to contact me. You will receive a letter in the mail in 1 week. It's time. Thank you for your support. I love you. Click. So we did that whole thing. And the whole time the Marines they're just flooding the room, just like barracudas, just behind you, in front of you, just sweeping, just scanning, no rest. And then he says, everybody face this way. And so we all turn that way. And then he took his hat off and he brushed it down and he smiled and he says, ladies, and then he uses his regular voice. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a demonstration of what the recruits go through when we grab them. It's chaotic on purpose and blah, 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 blah. And then he says, does anyone have any questions? And then some teachers had some questions and he answered them. Just super cool. And it was neat to see him just come out of it and just be this really sweet person, kind person, respectful. And whereas before you were just it was funny because some of the teachers, they couldn't remember their left from their right. And they're so
for a lot of people, man. I mean, that's probably, I mean, if you work on, a construction site or a warehouse job, you're getting yelled at by somebody all day long. But somebody who works in like a school environment or an office environment, it's probably been a good while since you've been actually yelled at by somebody.
Yeah, especially like that, and flooded, the room flooded with people yelling at you, just chaos. Yeah, so they took us to a conference room then, and we got several lectures from different officers, commanders of different units, and then from there they taught our group how to march, and we marched everywhere the rest of the day. Went to a actual barracks, sat on there just like if we were one of the. They had 4 drill instructors come in, just like they would on our first day there. How they introduce themselves.
Now, for the audience listening at home who may be wondering, particularly the females in the audience, did they give you guys a heads up? Did you have any poor young women in there, like in low heels and just uncomfortable shoes, clopping around all day? Or did they say, yes, hey, you guys may want to put on your trainers before you come?
Yeah, they had, they gave us all itinerary and proper attire for each day.
That's good. Could you imagine, like, Carrie will go to work and, some sandals she gets at Target for like $7. I'm like, those can't have hard supports in them. Those got, you're wearing, a leather cardboard strap on your foot. I couldn't imagine. It's bad enough that she teaches like that voluntarily, but to show up at something like that in some less than desirable shoes and have to march around all day would be torture.
Yeah, for sure. No, they were good. They gave us a heads up on how to dress, so we were all in our tennies and shorts and whatnot. Yeah, so just meeting drill instructors and getting yelled at and learning how to march and marching by actual units of young people in their formations, marching expertly. And here comes our Humpty Dumpty group. And it's just,
can you imagine being some 18, 19-year-old recruit, you turn over and there's your your group just trumping on through. Like, what?
I must have thought, man,
I need some sleep because I could have sworn I just saw my teacher over there.
Oh man. Yeah, and then they actually put us through the combat fitness test. And,
really?
We had to do 2 laps around the field and had to beat a minute. I think at the time was 3:18 to be the minimum, and nobody met it, like, of course. And then there was like, you have to low crawl across a quarter of the field, bear crawl across another quarter of the field, and then sprint, zigzag, throw a hand grenade, grab, which wasn't live, grab a buddy who's standing there, fireman drag him for 50 yards, and then fireman carry him for another 50. And of course, that didn't happen. I was like, my back was already hurting that morning. And there's
So what
a
happened
Marine
was I was tying
motivator.
my shoes at the hotel room this morning and got a little twinge in my back.
I told the Marine motivator that was with me, I was like, yeah, no, this ain't gonna happen. 23 years, 23 years emergency room, like, and EMS, like pulling people out of vehicles and dead weight. My back is jacked. Ain't no way. I says, now if this was an emergency, yes, I would pick him up, but ain't no way. I'm not gonna
If
do
you
that. I
want me
gotta
to
work.
walk the rest of this
Yeah,
program.
have to work on Monday. Um, but it was very and that the point that they wanted to make was how fit these Marines are, and they are freaking fit. And um, they had a Marine demonstrate it before, who he expertly did it, and then after that, the first day, this is still the first day, and we go to chow and we get to eat cafeteria, and it was freaking good. And then we went to see knife fighting course and how to disarm people, and then how to disarm a weapon from a handgun from
So
somebody.
jealous.
And it was such good
I want to
information.
go.
And then they did a demonstration with the dogs, bite work and running from them and taking them down and this and that. And uh, then they had probably what was my favorite, Don, was they had a panel, and they did these every day. And in this particular one was a panel of young people that had been Marines for maybe a year or two. And this young lady, last name was Hernandez. She's very tiny, like a twig. And she says, "Look," she goes, I was the runt in the family. Like, nobody expected me to do anything." And she said, and that made me mad.
Mm-hmm.
And I joined the Marines because I wanted to do what nobody thought I could do. And she goes, "I'll be real. I wanted to get out of my mom's house." And so she says, I joined right out after high school. And she says, and now here I am, a sergeant. And I have just last year, I processed $3 million through our office for the Marine Corps. And we've won awards because of my things that I've implemented. Our office won awards. And she says, and I just turned 20.
Wow.
and and when I go home and visit, my friends from high school are
Still
doing
sitting
nothing.
at home playing
They're still
Xbox.
sitting at home. And I've already been to South Africa. I've been to Belgium. And she's like, yeah. So that's what the Marines did for me.
What's up, everybody? Look, it's 2026. We're all still broke. We all need to save money. More importantly, we need to get cash back on the money we spend. That's why I suggest you using the Upside app. The Upside app was originally known for its gas reimbursement, if you will, right? You go to the gas station, you buy some gas, you upload your receipt, and you get cash back. Well, that's still the same thing, but they also include restaurants, stores, etc. Go out and buy your favorite tacos, choose on the Upside app to claim that savings, upload your receipt. In a day or two, you'll get $2 back or more, depending on how much money you spent on said tacos. So you can get cash back on gas, grass, and, well, yeah, anyhow, not that, but on gas, food, and much more. Check out the Upside app. You'll be happy that you did. And when you download the Upside app, and do me a favor, when you download the Upside app and it asks you for a promo code, use the promo code digital9684. Once again, that's digital9684. That'll help us out here at the channel. Thanks again. You got to buy gas, you got to buy food, so why not get cash back on the money you spend? And when I say cash back, they do in fact put the cash back into your bank account. So check it out, look in the App Store, that's Upside, and when you sign up and they ask you, type in digital 9684. Thanks.
And it was the same for the other three. They all were talking about that. And
Did they give you guys like an overview of like the history of the Marine Corps, its founding and all that stuff?
no. They of course talked a little bit about, some of them famous Marines, Chesty Puller and whatnot. But most of the time it was, and then they did talk a lot about what benefits students get,
Mm-hmm.
GI Bill, and even when they're in, they even get tuition for while they're in, and assistance, and they live on base. Everything is free, and they can really, and every freaking Marine we met, every student, every kid, all was taking courses, college courses, and they always hear this stuff about eating crayons and all that. It's not that's maybe back in the old days. Like these Marines are freaking smart and fit and warriors. But we definitely went back to the hotel that night, exhausted. And but it was interesting listening to the conversations.
So was this a full week, a half a week?
Yeah, so it was we arrived Monday evening, and then it was, full day Tuesday, full day Wednesday, full day Thursday, and then we departed Friday.
So it seems like if you're an educator and somehow this opportunity finds its way to you with the appropriate amount of notice, it seems like it's basically a no-brainer, right?
Right.
It's like you're not out of pocket anything, just your time. You get a cool experience. I can't possibly see like any sort of, why you wouldn't if someone came to you and said, hey, here's this thing you might be interested in. Check it out.
Yeah. 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 It's awesome. And I think if they had kept up the intensity that they had the first day, I think that it would have been a little bit taxing, because
I was going to say, yeah, they probably realized, look, these cats aren't going to be in this for a long haul,
Right. So thank God they backed off on the intensity after the first day. The second and third full days were just, they didn't care if we were in step and formation or not.
Yeah.
They didn't care if we talked and on the bus. So the first day was just to establish the shock and awe, and then you know, we had to do count, we had to not screw up, we had to do that, we had to go where it said to go, and the drill sergeant, that was a mistake I made, by the way. I called out on the bus, drill sergeant, I was wondering. And he looks over at one of his buddies and he just smiles real big like a barracuda. And I was like, oh, that's right, I said drill sergeant, that's Army. So he spared my life on that one. But yeah, then the next day was just lots of
Was there
class.
any other moments like that from other attendees where someone just during that first day or that first morning when you guys were still in that simulation, was there any other funny, memorable little things that stand out by a miscommunication or a misstep and when speaking up on their behalf?
Um,
Or were you the only one to put a foot in the mouth?
and that was at the end of the week too. I should have known better. um, no, not really. Everybody was really pretty on point, and just like being quiet, being respectful, not being obnoxious. There was there was one really funny moment when we because they took us to the rappel tower, and we got to rappel
That's
down the
sweet.
famous Marine Corps tower. It
How
says
tall?
Marines, 60 feet. And which, when you're looking up, you're like, oh, that ain't bad. And then when you get on the top and you're looking down, it's like, holy.
Everything's
They
taller
put
from
us
the
through the
top.
training. They put us through all the training like they do the troops, the Marines, and they did the rope harness that they fasten around you, and they get it cinched up real tight. And there was this one teacher, this black lady from a school up in Dallas. She come walking out, and she is cinched, and she is pouring out of this thing, right? And she just says in this awesome voice, she's like, I ain't never been snatched like this before. Oh man,
Yeah.
we laughed so hard, we were crying. Oh my gosh.
There's no modesty in a climbing harness. I used to wall
No.
climb when I was fresh out of high school. I used to work for a sports store in Columbus called Galleons, and we had a 40-foot climbing wall. And so after work or before, I'd show up before work and I'd climb all the different routes. So yeah, everything's taller from the top, and there's no modesty, particularly for guys in a climbing harness, because it squeezes you in all the wrong spots and
That's right.
accentuates things that have never been accentuated in public in that
Giant
nature.
packages walking around everywhere with these giant
Oh,
packages.
yeah, jeans all bulged out.
And afterwards, the the commander of the unit that did this training for those this captain, he addressed everybody and he goes, look, I do this, we do this all the time. I always have Marines that freeze at the top and they refuse. They look down and they're like, nope. He goes, not one of you educators froze. Every educator did it. He's like, I am really impressed. This is a courageous group. And that was kind of the tone that Captain TJ, she said at the beginning was this. She's the one who was organized it, and emceed the whole thing, and she was amazing. And she told everyone, like, you'll get out of this what you put in. If you're complaining and you're not wanting to be a part of any of it and you just kind of hang back, you're not going to have a great experience. But if you put into it and you try all these different things, you're going to have a blast. And that was definitely the case. I think one of the most memorable moments was the water safety. We got to see them run 300 young 17 and 18-year-old kids through the water safety pool. And they had the pool divided up into 3 sections. One section, your helmet, flak, M16, full gear, and you step into the 4-foot and you're supposed to totally submerge and stay underwater and take everything off and come up with everything off. Your uniform's on, of course, but your gear to save yourself. Then the next section is you're taught to float and to use your uniform to help you float, and to, even with your boots on and you're in full uniform again, you're floating. And then where we were sitting was behind this very tall flat platform that replicates the side of a ship. So they're having them replicate, your ship has been damaged, it's going down, and you have to step off into the ocean. So just stepping off isn't the end, it's the beginning, because now you need to save yourself and you have to get away from the ship and you need to get to this other ship that's going to come and save you. So you have to stay afloat and you have to backstroke and paddle your way. And so the kids that we were watching had all failed previously, and so they were terrified. It was a gut punch, because a lot of the kids look like, and this is an interesting study on anthropology, maybe that's not the right word, but one of the things that we did notice as a group was that all the kids looked like maybe perhaps they were immigrants, and I would say from Africa, South America, and Asia. And they were the ones that were having trouble swimming.
People who came from suburban and urban areas who may have not had access to a pool as a kid and had all those formative years of just jackassing around with your buddies and wrestling and choking each other in pools and throwing each other off. All that is a tremendous confidence boost, just getting comfortable in the water, let alone learning how to tread water and swim.
It was interesting to see. Yeah. Out of that one group of 50, there was only one Caucasian kid. And,
now, you mentioned floating with their uniforms. Are they still doing a thing where they take their pants off or their blouse and fill it full of air and kind of use it as a makeshift life jacket, or are they just...
Yeah, they're taught to tuck it in and they pull it up and they breathe into their nose. And you breathe into your uniform.
So they don't take it off now. They just inflate it while it's on them.
Keep it there, and it traps that air and helps them float. But they have a 99.5% success rate with every kid that they teach to swim and to stay afloat. And pretty impressive to see. And we didn't, of course, they didn't put us in the pool, but we were definitely sitting there and watching it. And it was one of the things that probably stayed with us the most, just because the stakes are so high, right? Like they could drown, and they're terrified and they're
Oh, so
scared. And
you really see the fear in someone's
yeah,
eyes when they're in a environment that they are super uncomfortable with, and there's a touch of danger to it. You can
yeah.
really see in people's faces, especially water.
Well, and these kids are there, right? Because they're not comfortable in water, so they're already at another level.
And they have the added
Um,
pressure of, hey, I can only fail this so many times.
right. Yeah, and then I got to go back home, and they don't want to.
Yep.
And but the pool is just ringed with instructors and people with life rings, and there's people in the water with masks and life rings, and it's a well-oiled machine. It's very impressive, and there's nobody yelling. That's one of the things too, is because the stakes are high, it's instructional, and even the commander of that unit told us, like, you're not going to hear a lot of this is instructional time here. We're teaching them. We're not. it's already it's already an elevated situation. So now, if you're being an idiot, they're going to yell. But um, yeah, that was very interesting. Um, yeah, and that was the same day that we did the rappel tower. But that was cool. That second day, we got to go to the museum on there, and they had several Marines come, docents come, and walked with the groups, and they were freaking good. They were so good, so animated. And they went upstairs, and the World War II section was awesome. But yeah, and then chow again, and then rappel tower, and then back to the hotel.
Chow, mess hall
Um,
chow, or catered,
no, it
sandwiches
was
from a local
we
deli.
ate
And
we ate where the Marines ate during the day, during lunch. Um, and it's very scientific now. So they have they have colors on the food. So it's like red is
calorie counts,
you shouldn't be
fat
eating
counts.
this. Yeah, exactly. It's like green is a go for it. Eat all you want with this. And yellow is you,
I've seen videos on this. Both armies doing it, navies. They're all doing it because it's no secret that we have an obesity problem amongst our pool of participants who are going to join the military. And so what they had to do is, like Dennis said, very scientific. I could be wrong, but I believe you basically kind of get a diet plan if you're on the risk of weighing out and not meeting the standards. They don't force it, but it's supposedly a very highly recommended diet plan. Say, hey, stay away from the red stuff or minimize the red stuff, double down on the green stuff based on that color code. And if they stick to that color code chart and the diet plan that they're on, and obviously with the PT and all the stuff they go through a day, it's scientifically proven, hey, calories versus in versus calories out, stick to this plan and you will meet your weight loss goals to hit the requirements. It has nothing to do with anything other than let's get you to where you need to be, and we're going to help you do that.
yeah, sure. Yeah. Um, yeah, and then the third day was all trip to Camp Pendleton and north, and it's about an hour and a half. Um, and then we had all morning was instruction on weapons, uh, how to shoot, and putting us through that.
How was that being obviously you're on a military base, so the safety's there. But once again, there may be one or two people who are in that audience with you who may perhaps this is their first time around a
Oh
quote
yeah,
unquote military. Well,
many
in
people
this
have
case,
never
it is a
fired a
military
rifle.
style rifle, but for what, you know, their envision of what they see on TV under the classification of a military style rifle, a lot of people get nervous in that situation.
Yeah, yeah. No, everybody took it very seriously,
Or more
and
positively, someone might have some preconceived notions turned around after such an experience like that in a
oh yeah,
positive
that's
way.
definitely what happened. And we only had one person who said they didn't want to fire the weapon out of our group of 58, and every female, everybody, everybody fired everybody, and they had a simulator first. Simulator, first you go out. That's what they call the three circles, and which is wild because you're on these bleachers, and they have the actual drill instructor riflemen that are training you are there. This is their job. They do this every day, and but behind them is this giant cement ring in the ground, and it's just full of young recruits, Marines, with each have their weapon, and they're all aiming in at white barrels, and they're going through different techniques they've been taught on sighting aperture and breathing techniques and trigger point. The whole time you just hear trigger, dry fire. And that's what they're doing. They're learning fire and then hold it for a second and then release, and it makes another click sound. And so that was happening here, and then this group was at another level, and then behind over here was another group of about 50 recruits, all so there's all this going on. Meanwhile, we're right in amongst them on bleachers being instructed as if we had just driven up, which we did, and we went over the rules. Treat every weapon as if it is loaded. Never point your weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. Keep your trigger finger straight and off the trigger until you're ready to fire, and keep your weapon on safety until you are ready to fire. So those 4 rules, and obviously they drilled those into us. And from there we went to the simulation. We were there for a little bit, and then they took us to the firing range, alpha firing range, and we each had M16 A4, I think, and then ACOG sights and 100 yards, and we each had our own individual shooting coach, and they brought 18 up to the line at one time, and then I was second behind that, and I was at lane number 10, and yeah, then you get very one-on-one. Here's your weapon, and they sling it. You got it down. They show you this, that. They only allowed us to shoot prone, which was a very wise choice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so then just pop, 11 rounds, and then once everybody's done, they stand and they walk forward. You go up there, you're talking to your coach the whole time, looking at the target, and
how was your grouping?
So when I went up there, my grouping would have all been on your shirt, would have all been in that circle.
Nice.
Center chest, the 8th Air Force.
That's awesome.
Was all in there. Pop, 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 pop. And I looked at it, and my shooting coach was like, holy. And then I felt this smack on my back, and I turned around, and here's this Marine major, and he said, daggone sniper.
On 100 yards, that's nice.
That was cool. And then he says, you shot before? You fired one before? I go, you guys, yes, sir. Where are you from? I was in Texas. He says, okay. It checks out. And I says, but, I want you to instruct me. Like, I'm going to do what you say, how to fire this weapon. And so I did. And that's when I got that nice tight grouping. I listened to him. And then we fired another 11, and it was rapid, just pop, 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 pop. And then, of course, it's a little bit less accurate, which is what they were teaching you. And but still, then my grouping was nice. But I had like 1 way up here and then 2 low.
Flyway.
Yeah, and he was like, I was probably trigger pull. And
well, that's what I was going to say. That's why during the verbal demonstration, as you explained it, pull and hold, and then release, so that your target reacquisition from the recoil and all that just resets the sight for your next pull.
Yep. And then after that, we went to 12 stalls, and that was a leadership course where you have this. You probably are familiar with that, where they have a problem, and you and your 4 members have to figure out how to get all this ammo cans across this raging, quote unquote, raging river, through these obstacles with these parameters. You can't touch this, and red is dead, and you can't touch the mulch, and you have to get your entire team and these 3 ammo cans across. And that was fun. That was a blast.
I'm so jealous.
So there was 12 of those stations. We did we had enough time. We each did 4. We passed 2 and died on 2, my group. Yeah, and then the last day was dress up nice. You got your sport coat. And we went to Morning Colors at the general's office, Morning Colors, and he spoke to everybody. singled us out, told the crowd that was there who we were, why we were there, how important we were, and thanked us for being there. He actually had come to us the day before too at a lunch that we were at and spoke with us. And when we went to the rappel tower, he was there at the rappel tower, the general, mingling with everybody, talking about where you're from and what do you teach. And he's just a really cool dude.
Is
And
this an
then the
annual event or
freaking
is this a
no, it's
every
like a
once in
couple
a
times a
while
year,
thing? How many
couple times
times?
a year, couple
That's
times
it.
a year.
That's awesome.
And then the last thing was VIP section for graduation, and we got to see the company graduate. So it was like 250, yeah, 250 young people graduate, and
How crazy! Not that you would have seen them there, but how crazy would it have been? The timing's off, but one of those one of those 8 that got sworn in on that rooftop at the oath. If you would have ran it, one of them said, that would the timing was off, but that would have been for what we went through in the organization and how that event is what got you there. That would have been absolutely crazy. If oh, by the way,
yeah,
that's one of the guys we swore in during the rooftop oath.
yeah. I mean, really, if you think about it, that would have been, they probably would have gone around March 1st, and it's a 13 weeks course.
Yeah,
So it's possible.
like one of them could have been in there.
Yep, that's wild. Um, yeah, and then we got to see them graduate, and that's, I had tears so many times. Um, just because and I don't think I would have had tears if I hadn't experienced the previous 3 days. And just the little taste I got showed me that what they had to go through to get there. And when you see them hugging each other when it's over and their families are so proud and they're high-fiving, and now that they have their eagle, they have their
Club and Acre.
EGA, and they earned it. They earned it. And you just feel nothing but just pride in them. And it's even now I could, I just feel that. And it's just like, you're just so proud of them. And you
Mm-hmm.
know that it's just not a freaking, they're not just pulling the refuse of society. That have no other options. They're pulling kids that are incredibly smart. They are talented. They have a lot of drive. They have goals, and they're hard charging, and they have courage. And one of the kids, and we got to talk to new recruits on one of the panels, and he said that he wasn't smart enough to go to college, so he says, "Well, I'll go into the Marines and see if I think about making it a career." And that just didn't sit right with me. And during the question part, I says, I don't really have a question, but I do have comment. And I looked at that young Marine who had graduated, and I said, I we over the last 3 days have seen 18 and 19-year-olds, because we also went to Miramar. I didn't tell you that. We went and saw F-18s, all the freaking flight line, Top Gun, like all that. We went out there and we got to see that. All the helicopters are lined up in rows. We got to talk to the crews, fire truck crews, this and that. These 18-year-old kids that are running all this $1 million of equipment. And that's what I told them. I says, look, the last couple days we have met so many 18 and 19-year-olds who are literally in charge of millions of dollars of equipment. We have met someone who literally processed $3 million last year, and she's still a teenager. I said, so do me a favor, just realize that what you're doing, 99, 95%, I think I said 95% of college students don't have the guts or the courage to do what you have accomplished and what you've done. And they're never going to be anywhere near the caliber of what you're going to be doing. And then everybody just started clapping. All the teachers just all started clapping, because it is exactly what we had all been talking about. Like, these kids are amazing.
Yeah, I think technically, what is it? I know that the military considers themselves what the 3%er because only 3% of the population volunteer for the military.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But that pretty much wraps it up. And listening to the conversations on the bus afterwards, the drive home back to the hotels was every night was very interesting, because now the difference between the conversations when we first started and then now, the teachers are all like, this is like a no-brainer. Like, this is we're definitely going to recommend our kids to do this because they're set up for life. There's so many opportunities. And um, so many of these kids that we interviewed were talking about how introverted they were, and they were just kind of in the back of the class and just getting by and trying not to get beat up at school. And now they're freaking leading squads, and they're
Hmm.
they're sergeants, and they're leading squads, and they're talking to us, and they're very vocal and put together, and they're so squared away, and they're managing freaking F-18s, and they're turning wrenches inside cowlings, and they're running this equipment, and they're protecting our country, and they're just outstanding.
And that's what I was going to say earlier when you made the comment that, look, they're not out there just picking through the best of what they have, the castaways. Modern day weapon systems are so advanced. You got to have smart people, good people with technology, mechanical stuff, you know, all across the board. These weapon systems nowadays, there's some pretty advanced stuff out there.
Yeah, for sure. And things that they even talked about, like the drone menace that
Hmm.
has been, and but they said that the U.S. has. He said we can't talk about it, but we're we're dealing with that problem, and like, okay.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing, the war between Russia and Ukraine, the advancement quickly of how they went from just a basic drone to now fiber optic fed. When you look at some of these post combat scenes out of Ukraine, it looks like a billion spiders just laid a web over these entire villages from just thousands of fiber optic cables being strung all over the place from the drones.
It's pretty wild.
And that's, you know, I think shows like the Wonder Years, and I think maybe even a scene in Born on the 4th of July, they would show like Vietnam vets and even World War II vets coming back, and World War One vets who would have PTSD from the sounds of fireworks on 4th of July. Just to think 20 years from now, somebody's going to be at their kid's soccer game, if we still have recreational drones, being my point, somebody just flying a DJI drone over to get some footage of their kid's soccer game, just the PTSD that sound kick off somebody who's been in
Yeah,
modern warfare hiding from drones. Some
yeah,
Ukrainian veteran, will be out in some YouTuber vacation flying a DJI drone overhead. That's a very distinct sound.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but you know, I'm very thankful for this opportunity, and took full advantage of it and did everything that they offered. And
Percentage wise, what was lecture versus interactive?
um, the lectures were probably about 50-50. Yeah, it was a nice balance. Yeah. If anything, well, they really hammered like the scholarships and what's available and the benefits to people that enlist, and then it also your spouse gets benefits, and um, some of the recruits they even went into, like, they have zero bills essentially, and if they have to live off base, they still get paid by the government to live off base. So, and then it's by market. So San Diego market is significantly higher than San Antonio market. So
Mm-hmm.
they're able to, what they'll do is they'll have like four recruits, or four, not recruits, but Marines, bunk up together in a house, and that's $12,000 a month that represented. So they have it pretty sweet, you know.
Yeah, because rent's not cheap, regardless of where you live.
Yep, yep. It was a good opportunity. I'm very thankful for it, and
Sounds like a great time.
yeah, everybody was just very moved. And even the Dr. Ray White, she was like, "Man, I'm never gonna forget this." And she's just, it was really amazing. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing the story with us. That sounds like I said. I'm jealous. I'm not gonna lie. I'm jealous, Dennis. That's awesome.
Well, I'm
I'm
sure
so
Florida does it. Probably
yeah
they do. Sure, they have that program out in Camp Lejeune.
yeah. Thank you for sharing that story. I just were you aware of the level of interaction before you went, or were you or was it more than what you were anticipating as far as that part of it, the simulation and the firing range and all that stuff?
No, they were very upfront on everything we were going to get to do, and if anything, it surprised me. Like I was surprised that they would just put these civilians on the rappel tower. That's a lot of liability,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Speaking of
know,
that, I mean, I don't want to get too much behind the curtain, but was there a stack of liability forms that required some signatures
oh
before?
yeah, oh yeah, for sure, yeah, for sure. We had to sign those to partake in those firing and the rappel
Mm-hmm.
tower and all that. But still, it's a bad look if somebody dies on your
Oh,
rappel
sure,
tower.
absolutely. No, I
So,
mean they're not much different than the liability forms that you sign when you're doing a Tough Mudder event or a Savage Race or even a marathon for that matter. There's always liability forms to be signed.
mhm. Yeah, yeah,
Well, thank
and
you guys for hanging out with. Go ahead.
no, that's it.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Jeff will be back here shortly. Do us a favor, head over to WTSPWorldWar2.com. Check out the new shirts. I didn't show you guys the back. You've seen it on the Facebook and Instagram page. We have the blonde and brunette bomber. I need to come up with a redhead bomber. I need a face. Thank you guys so much. Head over to our website, WTSPWorldWar2.com. Click on the merch link. Pick up a new shirt. We have hats. We got coffee mugs. We got everything. And head over to YouTube.com. Look for What's the Scuttlebutt podcast. I am in the mix of working on the video. You guys heard about the Rooftop Oath. I was telling Dennis before the show, I was just about done. I was getting ready to start putting nameplates up, do a little video work, and my project file got deleted, so I had to start all over. So that video is in the works. I'm not rushing through it. I really want it to turn out well. So instead of trying to rush it through for the purpose of just getting it out, I'm putting in the time. So bear with us. It's coming. I know that the conservators of the greatest generation COG has their own more in-depth version of a video of that same event. So mine's just kind of my view, obviously. But those will be coming down the pipeline. Head over to YouTube.com as well and look for COG. That's the Conservators of the Greatest Generation, their YouTube channel. Find them on Instagram as well. For myself, Dennis, and Jeff, who will be back soon, thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you all later.
This has been a Digital 410 production.